You're in no contact right now. And the question that's eating at you, the one you keep coming back to, is what are they thinking? Are they relieved? Are they moving on? Are they thinking about you at all? I'm going to answer that today. Not with false hope, not with what you want to hear, but with what's actually happening inside your ex's mind during the silence. Because understanding this, really understanding it, is what separates the people who use no contact effectively from the people who break it at exactly the wrong moment. Let's start at the beginning, the first week of no contact from your ex's perspective. In most cases, not all, but most, your ex is not thinking about you the way you're thinking about them. And I know that hurts to hear, but here's why it's actually good news. In that first week, they're in what I call the post-breakup exhale. The decision has been made, the tension is gone, and their nervous system is recovering from whatever stress the relationship had been carrying. They might be out with friends. They might be sleeping better than they have in months. They might even feel a lightness they haven't felt in a while. None of that means they don't care about you. It means the brain is doing exactly what brains do after prolonged stress. It's resting. What they're not doing in week one, it's sitting alone, thinking about whether they made the right decision. That comes later. And this is important, because most people break no contact in week one, when their ex is least likely to respond the way they want. Something starts to shift around week two. The exhale is over. The initial relief has settled. And for the first time since the breakup, there's actual quiet. Not the quiet of tension being released, just ordinary quiet. And in that quiet, your absence starts to register. Not necessarily as loss yet, more like a question. They reach for their phone to text you something and then remember they can't. They see something that would have made you laugh, and they have no one to send it to. They drive past somewhere you used to go, and the memory surfaces uninvited. These aren't dramatic moments. They're small ones, but they're accumulating. And here's what's happening psychologically. The idealization is starting. When we lose access to something, or someone, the brain naturally begins to filter the memories we have of them. The arguments fade first. The frustrations soften. What remains, what surfaces, are the good things, the specific things, the things that made that person irreplaceable. Your ex is starting to remember the version of you they fell for, not the version of you at the end, the real one. Now we get to the part nobody talks about. Somewhere between week 2 and week 6. And this timeline varies significantly based on how long the relationship was, how much they invested, and their attachment style. Your ex starts to question the decision. Not necessarily out loud, not necessarily consciously. But the doubt shows up. It might look like them checking your profile, watching your stories but not reacting, asking a mutual friend how you're doing in a way that sounds casual but isn't. It might look like them texting you something small and low stakes, a meme, a memory, a hey, how are you? Testing the water without fully committing to what they're testing for. This is the window, not a window to flood them with emotion or give them everything they're used to. A window where your response or your continued silence does more work than anything you could say. Here's the tough love part. If you respond to that test text the way most people do, immediately, warmly, with too much, you close the window. You confirm that you're still available, still waiting, still the same. And the doubt they were feeling gets replaced with comfort, the comfortable kind that doesn't lead anywhere. But if you respond calmly, briefly, like someone who has been doing just fine, the window opens wider. Let me go deeper on the emotional reality. Because your ex isn't experiencing one clean emotion during no contact. They're experiencing a mix, and it shifts constantly. Some days they feel fine, and that scares them. Because feeling fine means maybe you were right to disconnect. Maybe the relationship wasn't what they thought. Some days they feel the loss acutely, and that confuses them. Because if they miss you this much, why did they walk away? Some days they feel guilty. especially if they know they didn't show up the way they should have. The silence gives that guilt nowhere to go. It just sits with them. And some days, and this is the one that matters most, they wonder who you're becoming without them. That last one is the most powerful force in no contact. Not the missing, not the guilt, the curiosity. Are you okay? Are you growing? Are you moving forward? Has someone else noticed what they had? You can't fake that curiosity into existence by actually doing the work on yourself while you're in no contact. The version of you that's genuinely growing, that radiates. People feel it. Even through silence. Even through a profile they're checking when they think no one notices. One thing I need to address because it changes everything. Your ex's attachment style determines how they experience no contact significantly differently. If your ex has anxious attachment, they're probably feeling the silence acutely and quickly. They want to reach out. They're fighting the urge. They're checking your profile more than you think. No contact hits anxious attachers fast and hard. If your ex has avoidant attachment, and this is where people get confused, the silence actually feels comfortable to them at first. Avoidants regulate through distance, so the no contact period initially gives them exactly what their nervous system craves. But, and this is critical, avoidants have what's called a return cycle. Once the threat of the relationship is fully removed, once they no longer feel the pressure of your pursuit, the walls come down, the memories surface, the attachment system reactivates. This is why avoidants often come back later than anxious attachers. Not because they cared less, because their system needed more time to feel safe enough to feel the loss. If your ex is avoidant, no contact isn't just recommended, it's the only thing that works. Any pursuit confirms their need to stay distant. Your silence is the only language their nervous system responds to. So, what do you do with all of this? First, stop trying to decode every signal. Whether they watched your story, whether they liked something then unliked it, whether that text meant something. I know you're doing it. Everyone does. But signal reading during no contact keeps you emotionally tethered to their timeline instead of your own. Second, trust the process even when it's quiet. The silence that feels like nothing is happening is usually when the most important shifts are occurring on their end. The doubt, the questioning, the curiosity, none of that announces itself. It just quietly builds. Third, and this is the most important thing, make no contact mean something. Not for them, for you. Use this time to become someone you're genuinely proud of. Someone who is so grounded in who they are that the outcome, whether your ex comes back or not, doesn't determine your peace. That's not giving up. That's the highest form of strength in this situation. It's the most attractive thing you can possibly be. No contact is hard because it requires you to do nothing when every instinct is telling you to act. But now you understand what's happening on the other side of that silence. The questioning, the doubt, the curiosity, the slow process of them remembering exactly who they let go of. You don't have to chase that. You just have to let it happen. Subscribe for a new video every single day. And drop a comment below. How far into no contact are you right now? And what's the hardest part? I read every single one.